One. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's show. Welcome back, and thanks everyone for joining us. We have our panelists here today. They can give a quick intro for you all that can't see, listeners. Deborah, Shannon, Damon, Unique. Please say something to our listeners right quick.
Hola, everyone. Welcome to the show. I hope you enjoy.
Good evening. How y'all doing?
Shannon's still having some technical difficulties, but she's here with us, and we are going to continue some of the things that we talked about on last week, but we have some of our subscribers that sent questions in. And Damon, of course, let you guys go first. This is a great question, but before we get to the question, it's a two-part question. So the second part refers to sassy men, and the ladies want to know, why do men look for praise in doing what they are supposed to do? And we need a little clarification. Shannon, see if your friend that you're with, if she can call in and maybe her phone will work. But they want to know, why do men look for praise and gratification for doing what they are supposed to do? But before we do that, Deborah, we would like a definition. She asked the ladies to please define what a sassy man means to them.
Um, that term is very new to me, and I didn't know about it until my 16-year-old niece said that about her dad. She was like, "Daddy being real sassy right now." So that was a new one for me. I don't actually know what that means, but in the terms of what I think it means, it's just like, I'm guessing. I don't use terms like that. I don't know, because I don't use terms like that. Like, I do believe, like, when a man is being overly, like, I don't want to say overly emotional, but I don't know, like maybe overly feminine. I guess.
That's your definition?
I would guess. I would guess. Like whiny. I would suppose like whiny, like, when they're like, whining and going on, making a big deal out of like nothing, because that's what my brother was doing when my niece called him sassy. So I guess that's kind of the definition of that,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not really sure myself because I don't call men sassy. So I don't know that term too tough.
Or a
It was
sassy
very
man.
hard. It was very hard for her not to say act like a woman.
Right,
It,
right,
it was,
right.
it was, I was trying not to go there, Damon. I was really trying not to go there, but like, I'll say it, acting like a woman, like,
So
just,
then you mean, okay, so acting like a woman, is it okay? Shannon agrees. She's typing in for our listeners. She said acting like a woman, complaining about being a man. So, Damon, correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like these women are agreeing with gender roles. If acting like a woman is a thing, that means that you all agree with having gender roles.
When it's convenient. Oh, Sean.
well, I don't think that has to do, like, I don't think like that has to do with like a gender role per se, right? But like, like how men say women are overly emotional, and we complain or nag about everything. So if you just nagging me as a man, if you just nagging, then you might have to be a little sassy at this moment. I don't know.
So that would fall in definition. Okay. So Damon, we have our makeshift definition of a sassy man, right? Do you think, or have you ever found yourself complaining about doing what's considered your role?
The only time I even mention that is when my wife tries to get me to do laundry.
Hmm.
So then I asked her when was the last time her hand touched the lawnmower
Right, right, right.
or washed the car, that kind of stuff. But it's typically when, you know, you're overwhelmed with something or, something's like a thorn in your side about something. And sometimes we all just are guilty of being sassy every once in a while.
Based on their definition.
Right.
That's funny. That is funny. So let's see.
I mean, in
Um,
another retrospect, like I am definitely not an overly emotional person. I'm not a very affectionate, like I wasn't raised in a real affectionate household after I left my grandmother's house. So like, I don't, sometimes, when a guy is like, why you don't be more affectionate? Like, I just want you to just like sit here with me and, you know, like let's cuddle together, stuff like that. And I'm not big on that type of stuff. I'll do it for a few minutes maybe, but like, I don't know, that to me could be considered a little sassy. Like, come on now.
so, okay, Shannon, we can hear you now.
We got you,
Yeah,
Shannon. We got
I
you
got my
now.
microphone working now. How y'all doing?
You're well.
Good. So let's hear that definition from you, Shannon, of what sassy man means.
I asked the question because I posted this on my Facebook and I do have a hard time defining it. But what I always tell people is that when I'm talking to a fan and the first thing I think in my head is stop being a bitch, that's the sassy behavior. So it's usually when they're complaining, nagging, wanting praise for things that are their responsibility anyway. Not saying that you never praise them, but like mad when they aren't praised for it. I consider
Give me an
that
example of
sassy
something.
behavior.
Can we get an example?
Like, I don't know who was just speaking, but they were talking about cutting the grass. Like, I'm still completely fine if my man cuts the grass and I take care of the laundry. But don't act like you never say thank you for cutting the grass. To me, that's everything. Because I don't be walking around telling you to thank me for washing your clothes. Like, I would not do that. So being that way to me is sassy behavior.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
And coddled, wanting to be coddled. My friend is saying wanting to be coddled. That's sassy behavior.
Wanting to be coddled as in with affection or
They want a Yelp review. They want a Yelp review. That's what she means. Yeah, they want a Yelp review for things that are supposed to be their duty.
Hmm. That is interesting. So, okay, so asking for praise is sassy for a man. I guess what it sounds like, Trellis. Asking for praise and then praise for, I guess it looks like common things. Welcome, Tank. How's it going?
Yeah, and let me be
Um,
clear. So, like,
yes,
men always talk about women needing validation and stuff like that, and how that's a bad thing. To me, it's the opposite for men. When you need like validation for you being a man, it's that.
We see it all the time. We got social media. I think the people that try to do things to get attention or validation from others are the people that basically lack self-esteem. So if you are doing something for likes, or you're doing something to try to get attention, or you want someone to give you an attaboy for something that you did that's pretty typical for any person to do, then that's just an esteem thing. And some people, just like, I mean, it might be an extreme case of the love language, words of confirmation, but some people, really like words of confirmation. Some people are more extreme than others with the words of confirmation. And that one love language is not limited to women.
Hmm. So it seems like women can enjoy that. And let's see.
I think it's more than just a love language. Like, I think men deserve to have their love languages expressed and met from their partner. I think it's bigger than just you wanting your love language acknowledged. This is like whining, complaining, consistently, constantly.
I got you. And because this is a a unofficial definition, we're going to have multiple meanings, and those meanings will vary amongst multiple people. So I get it. I get it. So I'm trying to think about a time that I've sought gratification for something that someone may view as my normal duty or role as a man. And I honestly cannot think of something right offhand, but what I'm probably thinking is maybe the guy, it required a lot more of him than others. And I don't have an example. I'm just trying to brainstorm and think about something like doing something that comes natural, right? Or that you may expect is natural to men, depending on how you came up. Like I know Deborah and a few others in the past talked about being able to work on cars and seeing their fathers do different things. So to a man from, and our guest that we had before from New York, and he talked about how because of the public transit, they don't drive, have cars or work on cars like that, right? So if you have a guy from New York that didn't grow up working on cars and things like that, but he's in the South and he changes an alternator, and this is just an example, hypothetical, I can probably see why he would seek praise or gratification. And I can understand why a young lady might be like, bruh, my nephew was doing this at 10. Like, and that's just a hypothetical made up example. And Shannon, would you take that into consideration, or is he still sassy for doing something like that?
I think if it's something that he's never done before and he really went out of his way, there's nothing wrong with praising that.
Okay.
So no, him changing my alternator when that's not something he would normally do. Just thank you and hugs that come along with that.
Okay. Okay. But,
But 5 months
don't,
later, you bring it up to me again.
right,
Cause you're the
right.
guy
Now
in
you
feeling.
sassy.
Now
Now
you
you sassy.
yeah.
Okay, we're getting some clarification on this definition. If anyone else, any one of our listeners that are here, if they have a definition or example for sassy, Liz, Trellis, Tisa, welcome everybody. If you all have a definition for sassy, please chime in, either call or type your responses. And Tank, we're looking to hear from you, man. Okay, and welcome. We got my boy Hook joining in right now. I know we're going to get a really great perspective on this, Hook. We're going to get you brought up to par, and also for our listeners that are joining in, right? So today we're talking about, again, sassy men, right? And the ladies came up with a somewhat, they agreed, of a definition. And it's like men that seek gratification or words of affirmation for doing manly duties, like typical things that they should do for doing their job. And that is something that and remember the language, guys. We are we're a kid friendly show. So remember, no profanity. It makes it harder for us to go back and edit, but we want to know from the guys, do you have any experiences with doing things that these women consider sassy? And do you personally seek gratification or words of affirmation for just doing typical manly duties, taking out the trash, cutting the grass, things like that? Hook, I want to hear from you.
This topic was probably Shannon's idea, right?
No, I talk about it, but for Sean,
You know where it came from, Hook. You know where it came from, but go ahead.
No, and just based on the definition that the ladies gave, I mean, I don't seek, that validation, but what's wrong with offering words of affirmation to your man if he does these things? You know what I'm saying? Not that if he does take out the trash, even though technically it's something that he is quote unquote supposed to do. What's wrong with just saying, hey babe, thanks for taking the trash out? I don't define that as sassy behavior. Also, even if a man seeks it, I don't think that's sassy. I think it's just simply a man wanting to be complimented. I think what we got to get away from, women want to be complimented all the time, right? Like they want to be, they want to be reassured. They want their man to speak all these positive things on them. Why not reciprocate that? I don't think there's any issue with that. A man shouldn't be considered sassy just because, he knows his value and he knows his worth. And I think that's where a lot of this comes from, cause a lot of people, they, like the Ninja Turtle guy, the guy that all the women making fun of, like when he was popping the balloon or whatnot, and they called him sassy because, he was basically giving it back to the women the same way they give it to him. I don't think that's sassy behavior. I just think that if you're going to be able to give it, you gotta be able to take it as well.
So ladies, asking for your response. Do you seek confirmation or validation or words of affirmation?
Yeah, I think what we said earlier, I think maybe was going was that praising your man for doing something is not an issue. Like we kind of jumped into it coming back up 5 years later that you did it.
We gave an example, Hook. We gave an example of, like, we all grew up in the country, right? We grew up doing things that guys in other areas might not have done. So if you're dating this guy from New York or wherever that did not grow up working on cars with the uncle in the backyard, but he's here with you and he happens to change an alternator, like, that's something that he may, be proud of. You know what I'm saying? You can find him on the phone talking to his homies or his uncle or whoever saying what he did. They said it's not sassy the first time because it's an accomplishment for him. But they said if he brings that thing up about 5 months later, now it's sassy behavior. Like, hey, okay, bro, you changed the alternator, now get over it.
How is that sassy though? I guess that's what I'm like to me. And I'm not a woman, obviously, but to me, sassy is, I define sassy as being effeminate or anything, revolving around your femininity or being like a metrosexual or, giving off feminine vibes. But I don't think that simply wanting to be affirmed or to be validated for doing something, regardless of whether it's now, 5 years later, 10 years later, I don't think that's sassy. I think it's not, I don't think it's personal. I think it's more so personality, but I don't think that's necessarily sassy behavior. So I think that.
Say that again. Say that again. That's what Damon said. It's not, he said it's more personality. Please repeat what you just said.
Yeah, it's not personal, it's personality. So it's not about, it's not.
Don't be doing no hand shots.
No, and I say that because, I got two girls, right? And they are like, they interact with these boys and they be like, yeah, he acting sassy. I'm like, well, how is he sassy? Cause I want to understand what they mean. Oh, well, he was going back and forth and he was, whatever. I'm like, y'all call giving people these monikers. And I don't think there's not a clear definition from, I guess, a large group of women to determine exactly what sassy truly is. Cause I think everybody has their own variation of the definition. So hell, it can be affirming somebody can be sassy to one person, but affirming them to the next woman might just simply be her doing her duty. So I don't think there's really a clear cut definition.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's what we were trying to define. Like, what do you think is being sassy? But even what you were saying about sassy meaning a feminine quality, like you can be a very masculine man and still at a point have a sassy moment. So I don't think that is just.
Okay. So it's not a character trait. It's not, in your opinion, it's not a character trait.
No,
it's an action.
Like how you are saying things and the reason why you are saying things. Like, no, it's not a problem for you to come back 5 months later and remind me that you did this wonderful thing for me. But if you're doing that in the context of complaining about something, or you're doing that in the context of whining about something, to me, that's that.
So men can't complain. Men can't complain. We can't, cause we have our moments now. So,
men can't complain. I said in the way in which you deal. The context.
I saw your mic come on, Tank. What do you have to say about this, Tank?
Well, young lady, Shannon, I just want to know, give me another word for sassy.
I did, but I was told we can't cuss.
No. Okay. Was it a B word?
I did.
The B word is what you referring to?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I said earlier.
So that alone tells what her definition is.
Hold on, Cole. So a man is a B if he looks for affirmation.
Absolutely not.
When you put it that simply, no, and that's not what we're talking about. Because we said more than one time that we're not talking about a man just needing validation or affirmation because that's their love language or something like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when it's an extreme circumstance.
So is it a character trait or an action? And I ask because if it's a character trait and someone asks you about a person, would you ever describe a man as being sassy, Shannon? Have you been, oh, he's sassy.
I have like male friends that I watch they post all the time, and at some point you're like, okay, he's just talking about how he feel, and then you're like, oh, he does that every single day, you know.
So then it becomes a character trait. So now he's a sassy person. Okay.
Yeah, but then you have people that may just have a sassy moment, right? It becomes the action at that point.
So like, okay, I got you. So that's like, Deborah's niece was telling her dad that he's being sassy right now in that moment.
Yeah, not necessarily that you think he's feminine or have feminine qualities or he's always this way. You could just in that moment.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Again, guys, I'm open for your feedback.
Being called sassy to me, the equivalent of being called the B word that Shannon mentioned earlier. And there's to a man, that's one of the most insulting things you can call a man is that word. So when you refer to him as sassy, that's really the ultimate insult. And again, I don't think that regardless of how a man is expressing himself, I don't think that necessarily needs to be qualified as sassy. You might think it's sassy because you don't agree with him, or he might not agree with you, or you might be arguing. So, like men, contrary to popular belief, it is okay for us to express our feelings and not feel bad about it. Regardless, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to cry. It's okay for us to do these things. We shouldn't feel emasculated by doing these things, and we shouldn't allow people to make us feel that way simply because we're expressing ourselves. Like just because because me, I'm a communicator.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the issues I had with my ex prior to me meeting my wife is that she would say some of those things like use the B word or use sassy because she wasn't used to people communicating. You know what I mean? Like we'd be in the house, we'd have a disagreement or whatnot. I'd be wanting to talk about it. And then she just wants to just get over, like not talk about it, just get over it. And I'm telling her, how can you resolve issues if you can't talk about it? But in the midst of me trying to be communicative, she referred to me as sassy or the B word. You know what I'm saying? So needless to say, that's why we didn't work out. But that's not, that's why I think that women need to be careful when they're referring to a man that way, because they're like to me, that's the equivalent of calling the man a female dog.
And look, I completely agree with that, and I can accept that position. But I think we always get to the least of things and try to make the definition. And we're not talking about normal everyday behavior of your man trying to communicate with you or your man needing affection from you. That's the norm. We're talking about those instances where people are just like, whoa, why are you acting like that? Like, why are you having sex? You should stop doing that. It's not the norm.
Hey, you made a good point, Hook, when you talk about communication and what I learned in a previous relationship, like 20 plus years ago, whenever we had a disagreement, her method of apologizing was through intimacy, right? Just want to have sex. It took some time and maturity for me to realize that, like you said, that it, oh, you know, but you automatically think that, okay, we've slept together. We went through our typical routine. Now things are great. So I can see how that's problematic for you. And then what I learned as well is for men, we have to look at not about a woman's past when it comes to body counts, right? But look at a woman's past when it comes to their level of affection, because some people, men and women, have never been loved before. They don't know what it feels like to have someone that loves them unconditionally, or what they view as love has been something that you aren't expressing or what you don't view as love. So it's not symbolic of how you demonstrate that you love them. So if they don't view it that way, and I don't know her, so we're not going to talk about the person personally, but in some instances, I've been in situations like that where their idea of love was intimacy and sex, and their method of communication was intercourse. So they felt like, hey, we have sex, it's over. I've shown you that I still love you, and then we move on. But
Right. Right. Yeah. And,
those,
and, and I,
those are
and the
things to
thing is,
discuss.
yeah. And that's the thing. Like, and that was her too. Like, that was her way of trying I guess, to reconcile is through intimacy. And,
Hmm.
she would do things like saying, like trying to get me to sleep on the couch, right? Since we beefing. I was like, man, I wish I might sleep on the couch in some place I'm paying bills at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm
We ain't
like,
doing no
that's,
palace.
yeah, no, we ain't doing that. I said, what we're going to do, we're going to sit here and talk about it. We're going to either agree, disagree, or agree to disagree. We're going to kiss goodnight and we're going to go to bed. But that was, oh, stop being sassy. You acting like a such and such. I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get up out of this before, it gets bad. So that was, and that's why I think that we really need to be careful when using that word. Cause it's, what I'm saying, like women may think it's just a cute moniker to use, but a
Hmm.
man being called sassy, there's nothing cute about that.
It's definitely not. And I will say this, like, though I thought it was a little bit hilarious when my niece called my brother Sassy, I did turn around and check her about that because I don't agree with one calling names, period, or labeling anybody because of how you feel they acting. Like people are gonna be people, whatever. But for her to be so young, I don't want her, 16 coming up, getting ready to be, grown and out here in the world. Like if you're gonna learn how to date properly and deal with men properly, like this ain't the way to go about it. So I did have to check her on that, and I did explain to her why, and she understood, and I'm sure she still says it like when she's around her friends, but she makes sure not to say it when she's around me.
I thank you for that. That's something. And then a lot of these terms, in my opinion, they become really saturated. It's like this is the latest talking point. And at times I take stabs at times about some of the things that I label as a at the moment thing. And then I'll bring it up and it's like, when's the last time you all said it or used it? Because if it was a part of your fabric, you would still be doing it, not just a trend or follow fashion thing. But so Shannon, we'll be glad when y'all let that sassy term go away.
Hey, I can't promise you I will never say it, but I will take it into account.
Hey, Terry has a question for you ladies.
How y'all feel about it?
Okay, ladies, Terry has a question. He says, how can a woman call a man sassy and women want a man to communicate? They're two different things. That's why men have a hard time opening up and communicating. And you made a great point, Hook, with that, man. You're trying to communicate and then being called a B.
Can y'all still hear me?
Yes, Deborah, you're a little muffled now.
Okay, okay. I'm gonna try again. Give me a second. I'll answer that in a second.
Okay. Shannon, would you like to give it a shot? Or Tamaria? Tamaria says she hates that term, sassy, when used with men. Shannon has adopted that term as her slogan for men that
I have
a certain way.
I haven't adopted anything.
No, we're just teasing. We're just teasing. We're
Yeah,
teasing.
I know you are. I'm sorry, y'all. This is noise out here. That's why I have my thing on mute.
Okay. Hello, Tamaria, and welcome. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. Can y'all hear me? I'm driving.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, I hate that term. I think it's very, and I don't want to offend anybody, but just really gay. Because the same way if someone labels you a certain way, then how do they expect you to respond to them or act? So if you're trying to get some good communication coming from someone, the last thing you should do is label them as something that's, you know, ignorant
Offensive.
like that.
Mm.
Like I'm like you're not even setting the tone for good communication if you're coming at a person saying, "Oh, you sassy."
And because behavior, this is the issue that I have. Behavior is so relative. And as adults, I ran into this after like I was married because in none of my other relationships, well, one, we knew each other's family before, before getting into a relationship. But being married is the first time that I had an opportunity to interact with another family holistically, right? And one of the things that I always found myself doing was explaining to my wife that that's how you were raised and that's it. That's all that means is that's how you were raised. But a lot of times our expectations on the behaviors of others are so relative and we don't pay attention to it. I think once you go anything that's not like breaking the law or, you know, bullying, being mean or things like that, those things should be universal. But there are so many things that we judge others on only because they don't do it like we do it or do it the way we are accustomed to having things done, which is so vital and important. And Hook, I don't know why it just bothers me. And again, I don't know the young lady. She might have a different version of what happened, but just from your side, that really bothers me because I know the type of person you are. You know what I'm saying? And if you're trying to communicate and then you're being labeled and called B, that's humiliating.
Yeah, and especially when it comes from somebody you care about.
Right.
So
Right.
so you that's why that word is that it's a really loaded word, you know what I'm saying? So and I know it's like a very popular word amongst, you know, I guess amongst the female persuasion now, this is
Mm-hmm.
sassy, that's sassy, stop being sassy, all these sassy men out there. And again, I'm not a woman, so I can't, I know people speak from their own experiences, so I'm never going to doubt what somebody has experienced. And there may be a lot of men who can truly be labeled sassy out there.
I
But
appreciate you for recognizing that.
oh no, absolutely no. And I guess that's the thing. I do understand, and because I know,
I
like,
disagree.
no, yeah, nobody that I hang out with, but I know, and I guess I wouldn't call them sassy, but I done been around a lot of dudes, and I'm like, man, stop acting like a, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's, but it's, more so about their mannerisms or maybe some of the things they're saying. And maybe because it may be somebody I have history with. So I know that the stuff that they're talking about or complaining about has no validity. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, I just hate the word. I really wish people to stop using it or labeling people as such. And cause right now I just think it's people using in a very generic way.
Yeah, I just want a definition for it. If you're going to use it,
We
can we
still
at
don't have
least,
that, do we?
we
Yeah.
don't have a definition. Can we at least come to a census on what it means?
Probably not
But
in this
nah,
lifetime, but we'll keep trying.
mm, you determined to have your word out there. Hey, we got you, Shannon.
Me personally, I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't use it. I would never. First of all, if I call my man sassy, that's a problem for me. Like if I gotta call you sassy, you probably not gonna be my man no more. So I'm I'm not big on name calling, period, in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm not big on labeling in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Like, if you're being overly anything for me, I'm probably just gonna really just ask you like what's going on? What's happening here? Like that's what I'm gonna say. Like what's happening here? Like what are you going through? Like what are you feeling?
Hmm. Well, I
That's a
have
good,
a,
that's a good segue into these things come from somewhere.
hmm,
People's self-esteem because it came from somewhere. People seek gratification from others because that came from somewhere. And some people communicate because, and some people don't communicate because it came from somewhere. So the behavior in itself, whether I display it or somebody I know displays it, it comes from something else. Could be traumatic experiences. It could be, the way we were raised, you couldn't, you couldn't communicate when I was a kid. It was either, my way or get the face roll up, that kind of stuff. So, the fact that Hook is able to communicate, it comes from somewhere, and that's good.
Mm.
That's a good, but in the black community, unfortunately, more people are like me and less are like, look, more men, I should say.
And you all do a great job at communicating, I will say. It's something that I'm working on personally, and that's part of the reason why I started the podcast. I started doing a lot of research on communication and effective communication, and I understand the importance of, and also how communication can affect trust and distrust, and vice versa. When events happen where you lose your trust in someone, it impacts the way you communicate not only with that person, but how you communicate with others. I want to ask Hook. I was asked, did that affect how you communicated with your current wife? So I'm assuming it meant, were you a little, did you have some anxiety as far as expressing yourself or your communication with your current wife? Did you like fear being called a B?
At first, yeah, because like with my wife now, like this is she's the first person I've been with, that actually, what I'm saying? Like I can truly be myself around. Like I can be as communicative as I want to be, as expressive. I can be as animated because I'm normally pretty laid back and reserved, but everybody has their moments where they need to vent, and she allows me to do that without judgment or anything like that. And that's probably why we work so well, because there's no fear there. I know that I can say anything to her and share things with her and not have to be labeled or fear that she's going to do X, Y, and Z. So we're equally yoked in that regard. So we both are very communicative people.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just thank God that I was able to find somebody who I can communicate with, because one thing I'm not going to do is filter myself or not communicate because this person doesn't want to hear what I have to say. And what I've realized, is, again, I'm not speaking on all women, I'm just speaking from my own personal experience, is just like most women are that I've dealt with, they aren't communicative when they're being held accountable, and when you're saying something that they don't like, or when you are holding them
Ooh,
to the fire. You know what I'm saying? So it's more
you can't
so,
say the A word like that.
yeah, or you being sassy. And now I'm being sassy because I'm calling you out on your stuff. You know what I'm saying? But it was all good when I'm the one taking, the heat. So I think that that's part of it. I think a lot of people, not just women, but a lot of people, it's hard for them to hear criticism of themselves. So maybe they use, they throw that word sassy around to try to, I guess, discourage you from actually, calling them out.
I agree with
That's a
you
good perspective.
100%. I agree with you 100% on that right there.
Go ahead, Shannon.
Yeah, and I can say you do have women that don't like to be called out, but you do also have men who find it their life journey to call everything out. And to me, that is what I think about when I refer to the word sassy.
Can you give an
Those
example,
guys.
Hey,
please, Shannon?
hey, Hook.
Just for clarity.
Uh-huh.
So when they throw out that sassy word in the middle of an argument, it changes the direction of the argument. Because now you want to address them calling you by out of your name versus what the actual discussion was about.
Facts.
It's a diversion tactic.
Facts.
True, and I'm not talking about using it as a diversion tactic or even using it with a man like where he is a good communicator. There's nothing wrong with your man trying to communicate you. I'm not even talking about using it in situations like that, because for me that's normal. You're supposed to communicate. You're supposed to talk. You're supposed to tell me how you feel. That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay. I get it. And I think, this is an assumption of mine, but in your defense, Shannon, it's like one of those little descriptors that women often joke about, and not just women, but a lot of people, you give nicknames, right? And like I said, we use monikers, and if it's something that, when you're talking to your girls and you say, oh yeah, he's girl, he's sassy. He's being sassy. But when you start saying it directly to the person, I think we need to think about that a little more when you're saying to the person the effect that it would have. And like Damon and Tank and Hook both said, it's like a deflection tactic. When you're trying to hold them accountable for something, then they have labels that they'll put on you when you try to hold them accountable. You're going to be called delusional. You're going to be called crazy. just all types of things we're discussing. I want to segue in, guys, to another thing that someone and we had a private discussion after a comment on Facebook, right? We had this discussion about healing and how men need to be healed. So just give me your feedback on this, ladies. I like to go by a standard definition so we can all be on the same page when we're discussing things. So when I talk about healing, if something is healed, if you have a wound, a cut, a scratch, a break, or something, once it's healed, what does that mean to you all when something is healed? Anyone, give me their definition.
I mean, I can say when something is healed, that means it is in a better place than where it was before. That means it should be healthy. It should be clean. It should be,
Prior to the injury, right? Like the state
yeah,
should be
right, yeah.
be- prior to or better than it was when you're injured. So
Yeah, 100%.
that was the definition I gave to her, and I was like, and you said or better, because like I thought about an athlete. You have athletes that get injured, and a part of their healing process is rehabilitation. But now during that rehab, they're working out, they're getting physical therapy, they're weightlifting. Sometimes they come back stronger, faster, and able to perform better, right? So that's healed. But when we talk about relationships and healing from a relationship, we try to give a generic definition of what healing should look like for a person. Because if you don't know what that person was like before the relationship, you don't know what healing looks like to them, right? Like someone could have been a certain way and what you saw was a changed version of them, right? And then after something, they are back to what they were before that incident. So it may not look healed to you, but to that person, that's healed. And that's another one of those terms. I want to say this. First off, I want to commend these people. I don't want to limit it to women, but for sake of discussion, I'm just using women because when we came out of college, everybody had these degrees and that were viewed, I wouldn't say useless, but they were limited. Everyone that had these sociology degrees and psychology degrees, they were all working for DSS. Now everybody's experiencing so much trauma, and I commend these ladies. Now the folks with these degrees are flying to Chicago for lunch and taking trips and making all this money. But the people that are being counseled, for some reason, men and women, they go to 2 sessions and think that they're a clinical counselor. They start using these terms and saying this, and this is what a person needs, and this is what they should do, or what you should do. But I think we have to understand that it looks different for everyone. Okay, Jermaine commented, and Jermaine is trying to get a seat. I'm sorry, Jermaine. All of our seats are taken right now. He says for healing to be effective, then you have to
I
be
see a seat
offered a
open.
level of grace.
I see a seat
Which is
open.
there is it looks like it, but it's actually not.
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay,
Yeah, we have some people that are seated that aren't speaking.
got you. Okay.
Yeah, Jermaine, can you speak now, Jermaine? Are you able to get on your microphone?
And I agree with Jermaine. Like anybody that's going through a healing process has to be given a level of grace and understanding. And just like you said, Coach Sean, it looks like that looks different for everybody. No two people are gonna heal themselves the same. Even the way someone might go about their healing will be different. And maybe what I have to heal from is not as traumatic as what you might be having to heal from. So where,
Right.
like, and not only that, but healing is not something that you do and then you're done. That is a continuous journey for you to be on in life because we have so many different relationships. We have so many different challenges. We have so many different, situations that arise that you may have to heal from. It's not only people. It's not
Deborah,
always only people.
do you actually ever fully heal? If you're saying it's continuous, do you actually ever
I,
fully heal?
I think I don't know that I would say that you actually fully heal, but you do get to a healthier place within your life, a healthy place within your life that works for you and that allows you to show up in a manner in which you can be good and you can, give positivity and just be who you need to be for the people around you. I can't say, you know, I mean, I feel like I'm good now, but when I say I'm fully healed, no, right? But I know if I have to show up in a relationship, I am way better than I was back then. I think way differently than I did back then.
Hmm. So again, we're going away from our definition of healing.
I mean, but just like you said with an athlete, like an athlete might get injured, right? They go out,
Hmm.
they go to rehab, and so he comes back and he's technically healed, right? But what are some of the lasting effects that he might still have behind that injury? Maybe it doesn't heal fully, but it heals enough for him to play the game.
So is he
You
healed?
understand what I'm saying?
Or are you saying he's not fully
I
healed?
truly feel like healing is a continuous thing. It's not something that you can just do. Like when it comes to like your inner, your heart, I don't feel like it's something that you can just say, okay, I'm done. I'm all the way good. Because then the next person you meet might trigger something else that you now need to go back and heal. That you didn't even know you needed to heal. That you didn't even know was going to trigger you or affect you. And that's why I say it's a continuous thing because until the right person touches that button to let you know that you got an issue that you might have to work on, you ain't gonna know you got something to work on. You ain't gonna know you got something else that you need to heal.
Is that healing though? If something becomes a character trait, okay, or is that something that just a part of who you are? Is that considered healing? Like some people just don't trust individuals, relationship or not, right? You grew up a
Mm.
certain way. You grew up in this lifestyle. You grew up around certain things. So your trust itself is where it is. But remember what makes the norm. 51%. As long as 51% or more does something in that vicinity is normal. So because normal itself is relative, the not expressing trust is normal for them. That's normal. That's the way they grew up. So if I don't trust someone and I take that character trait into a relationship and you aren't acting on it, you aren't following anybody, you aren't going through messages or anything like that. But the fact that you aren't shocked when they do something or you just don't trust people, does that mean you need to be healed or something's wrong because of a character trait that's not that's not common to that person? Because you might get in a relationship with someone that grew up in the same way that you did. So the lack of trust is normal to them. So do we agree on what this healing looks like? Or do we accept that the way a person is, we're just all different? We just have to understand and accept that. Like people are different, unless you're talking about bizarre cases, right? People are just different. And I've seen that, in my opinion, been oversaturated with what a person should look like. And now we're coming up with this cookie cutter stuff. And then we'll come right back in the next sentence and say we shouldn't have roles. And then right after that, Shannon gonna hit us with a man being sassy because he wants praise for his role. And then you have someone else like Trellis talking about roles are antiquated and those days are of the past. So again, we're coming to you live from Mars, so where we are. And I'm just trying to help
Mm.
you ladies understand how confusing it is to a lot of us.
Well, like I said, everybody's healing journey is different. Some people don't even think they need no healing. And if that's how you feel, then that is your prerogative and I can't tell you nothing. I don't necessarily, like, I won't look at nobody or encounter someone and because I don't like what they do, just say, oh, you need to go heal. I'm not going to do that. Really, if I don't like something that you're doing, I'm just going to remove myself because it's not up to me to tell you you need to heal or anything like that. But if I'm trying to, like, if we're trying to be in a relationship and you keep telling me about something your ex-girlfriend did that's bothering you, baby, now you need to go heal. because I'm not her, she's not me, and like that's something you need to get through something that affected you there, because it's like I can understand like maybe I'm doing something that triggers you because of what you went through there, and I'll be mindful to maybe not do that again, right? If it's something that I can really avoid doing, I'll be mindful to try to not do that again. But the fact that you're even comparing me to somebody else that you were with, that's an issue. That's an issue. That's something you haven't fully either moved on from, healed from, or something.
So, let's break this down. And if someone else say something, please just chime in. I'll give you all the floor. Does anyone want to respond to Deborah before I do? No comments? Okay. What I wanted to ask is this. When a person brings something from a past relationship that you do not like, they need to be healed from it. But what do we say when a person brings something good from a prior relationship? Like I've lived and learned, and what if I dated someone that taught me how to communicate effectively? What if I dated someone that taught me how to affirm women, how to be polite, the things that they like? I'm opening the doors. I'm calling to check on them if they're ever driving alone at night. They taught me all of these things. If I brought that in from a past relationship, do I still need to be healed from that prior relationship?
No, you don't need to be healed for things like that show, that can allow you to show me, maybe you're showing me something I didn't even experience in a relationship, right? That you were
Mm-hmm.
taught to do in a relationship. I can't say, what I mean is like, if you're comparing, like I wouldn't ever like get into a relationship with you, Karshawn, and be like, well, my ex did it like this. And he was doing, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it was better the way he did. Like those type of things are the things that I feel like, I mean, there's positives and there's negatives that we can all bring into a relationship. Anything positive is always going to be looked at like, cool, good. I can take that. I can have that. But anything negative, like it's stemming from somewhere. So
So that's
are
what I was
you
looking
able
for.
to get
So,
understanding where
Can
it's
I speak on
stemming
that?
from?
so it's positive and negative universal.
Yeah,
Can I speak on that part?
sure. Go ahead.
All said and done is a mind thing. Your mind got to be positive. If your mind on a negative note, you're going to get negative feeds. If your mind positive, God going to bless you to move forward. With or without anybody. But you got to have your mind set. You know? Understand the healing? Yeah. You ain't going to heal if your mind on the negative part. How can you heal? You know what I'm saying?
To focus on positivity as you're
You
moving
got to
forward.
focus on positive and move forward. You got to let the past be the past.
Hello?
Understand we all go through things. You know?
Anybody here?
Yeah, somebody was trying to say something. Is that you, Tank?
That, no, that's me.
Oh, Jermaine, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, but I don't know if anybody before I got on, I was trying to say, and I typed it, I said, healing takes a certain amount of humility. It takes grace from the other party, but it also takes humility from yourself, because it's like, a lot of times, like with anything you gotta heal from, whether it be addiction or anything, the first step is realizing that you gotta be healed. And a lot of times, that's the hardest part.
Back to what
Mm.
I was saying. It's your mind. Your mindset. You got
But
to
it's a
have a
two-way
positive
street though.
mind.
It's a two-way street. You gotta be willing to, you gotta have humility, and the other person has to have grace. So it's like a team effort.
So,
That's
I
so,
true.
agree.
okay. But this is the only issue that I have. When you're in a relationship, you're in a marriage, that's one thing. But when we're talking about developing character traits, defining who a person has become, who that person will be moving forward, we're changing who we are for another individual. And then what helps when, or what happens when you and that person are no longer together, and that character trait that you have developed that was a plus to that person is now a negative to someone else. Like some women love affection and a guy that's emotionally intelligent, or Some women don't like all that,
That's a
right?
loaded term.
So now you develop all these traits that's all positive for this person, but then you take it into another relationship and that person does not like it. Now they're saying you need to be healed from that because it's negative to them. That's why I was asking if healing is being healed from negative things and it's okay to bring positive things in. But can we agree, ladies, that all of these character traits in a man are not universal as to what we want in a man? Shannon,
Mm,
Deborah, do you all think that the traits, if you had your checkbox for what your ideal man is, what percentage of those boxes out of 20 would match what other women select?
I don't know. That's a hard one to answer because I just try to stay open to whatever or like whoever the person is because I can't, I don't know. Like I try to stay open. I try not to have any real solid expectations. Like I want you to show me who you really are. I don't want you to come in and, you be like, oh, I don't like this and I don't like this and I don't like this. So now you're not being yourself because I'm telling you I don't like all this stuff, but it's something that makes you still want to deal with me. So you're just gonna not be who you are. Like I want you to be as comfortable with me so that you show me exactly who you are. And then I can decide if that's where I want to be.
Bless.
Exactly. I feel the
I
same
like
way.
that. I like that. Let me know
Yeah, I
from
love
the
that as
beginning.
well. Be
Communication with me.
sincere. Yeah, be genuine about who you are.
Communication means a lot.
Right.
Yes.
And the more
But
open you are, right? The more comfortable you allow somebody to be with showing you who they are, the more
yeah,
they're going to show you who they are. And
yeah,
people don't realize that, that can go one of two ways. Like people always say, like, tell me, like, you always make me feel so comfortable. Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I always feel comfortable around you. I'm sure you do. That's for a reason. Cause I need to know who you are before I know if I can get comfortable around you.
right, right, right.
I agree with that as well. That's what I
Yeah,
prefer. Be yourself.
yeah, be yourself.
Let's see if
Keep it
this is what I
100.
like. But
Yeah,
some people
let me be
aren't
the one to make that
accustomed to that.
decision.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
people aren't accustomed to that, and because initially you might be something or someone that they like, so
yeah,
they're going to. I wouldn't even call it faking. Maybe some people feel like, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I can change these things about me. Maybe I can, but
yeah,
after time, it's like, you know what? No, this wasn't it. You know.
Well, I don't know. See, I don't know what to say on that because I'm a patient man. So it's like, if you come to the table and you got some issues, here's the thing. If you identify those issues, you willing to work, I'll work with them with you. Now, everybody's not like that, but I'm saying I'm a little patient with that because I understand some people do need a little, do need a little, it's not easy for somebody to, bear themselves like that. So it's like, it's sometimes when they do that, sometimes it's your job to, let them know they didn't make a mistake in doing that and make them feel comfortable doing it. And maybe in the long run, that might help. That might help, the communication gap between the two.
Hmm. I just have an issue with trying to change people because
No, I ain't
nobody's
saying nobody
perfect.
yeah.
changing. I
Can't
ain't
do
saying
that.
nobody
And,
changing. I ain't saying
and, and
nobody
like,
changing.
no, when like you're talking about changing yourself and,
No,
or
I
what
said
you
it was
can
patient.
put up with
I never said I was changing. I said I was patient.
what they have. So like, I think that we have to understand that nobody's perfect. And if you start looking for perfection, you will always find something wrong with every individual, including myself.
If you
Anybody
look for
can
something,
look
you
at
can
me
find it.
and
So,
find 5 to 10 things wrong if that's what they're looking
so,
for.
If you're
Yes.
looking for something, you're gonna find it.
hey, listen, I was listening to a podcast. Y'all heard the chick, Tasha K.
No.
She
Oh
said her husband
Lord,
told her,
sweet Jesus.
nobody's, listen, no, but listen. Nobody's perfect. The only person perfect is God, and you have never seen him, so you don't know what perfection looks like.
Hmm.
It's so true.
Yeah, I wish more people believe that.
And
But see,
a
you was
lot of
ready to shoot it
times,
down when I told you where it came from.
No,
a lot
I
of
ain't gonna lie.
times,
No, I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie to you. But look, I listened, and it was a good point. I told you, I'm patient. Look, I listen to everybody. You can learn from your friends and your enemies.
Yep.
what I always ask women to do is when they meet a man, just picture you and this man alone on an island, just stuck on an island, just the two of you for 6 months. You and this man alone for 6 months. What are your expectations, right? And I've seen in so many instances, and men are influenced the same way, but too many times we're influenced by what's going on with others, and it controls what we want in our relationship. And, I was talking about this, that things are fine. And then, like we talked about earlier, Trellis, when did preparing a meal for your family become a bad thing? You know, I sat here and listened to the entire episode when the women talked about Sassy and doing what they're supposed to do. So to say a person is supposed to do something, you all agree that it's a role. Not you, Trellis. You see, you don't believe in gender roles. But if we accept that certain things are exclusive or could be done by men, then when and why did cooking become viewed as such a bad thing? You see how many women talk trash about cooking or doing the laundry? Like, oh, who, me? Oh, no. I got a paycheck. One young lady said, hopefully you find a woman who needs money and willing to do that for a place to stay. Like, when did your income have anything to do with, you know, nurturing a family?
I ain't no saying that 'cause I'm gonna do majority of the cooking anyway in my family, so it's like, yeah, I'll let her do
Yeah, I was
everything
gonna
else.
say that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do
You got some background noise going, Jermaine.
Oh, my bad. Hold on. No, that's not me. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, that
I'll
was
be
you.
honest. I'll be honest with you, though. I'm probably a better cook than probably a lot of women I'm getting involved with. But that's something I do. So as long as she give me that, hey, no problem.
So how do you guys feel about gender roles? And ladies, how do you all feel about gender roles? Trella said she stands on it 10 toes down. I do not accept gender roles or restrictions in how a man or woman is to be. Thank you for that, Trellis.
Was that before or after the guy breaks in the doggone house?
So what would
I'm
your
not
role
pressed about
be?
a gender role either. I mean, clearly I work on cars. So gender roles for me don't really, that's not something I really think about or I have to enforce or need to feel like it's necessary in a relationship. It's like, if you can do it, if you have the time and the space and the opportunity to do it, do it. Help me out. That's all I ask.
Yeah, you work on cars?
And vice versa. I'll take out the trash if I got to. I might not like doing it, but if you need my help doing that because you're a little busy right now and it needs to be taken out, then I'm gonna do it.
I need help installing a water pump.
Oh, you need it.
Deborah says she can do that.
Yeah, that's why I asked her.
No, she's good
Wait,
with
what did
that.
you ask? I didn't hear.
No,
Ask if you can
no,
help change a
I'm
water
sure.
pump. He's talking about you helping him with his car.
I'm sure that you water pump.
I mean, I most likely can. And what kind of car do you drive?
Oh five Dodge Charger.
Oh yeah, I could definitely help you change that because that's an older vehicle. So yeah.
That's on where I roll. That's what I do.
Okay, Shannon says, oh, this is a good question. Damon asks, watching a movie at midnight on a Friday night, the doorbell rings. Who's answering the door?
My
I am.
man.
But there's no gender roles.
I told you.
I
Look,
mean, if I answer it, I'm gonna answer it with the
breaking the
gun,
house.
but he can answer it.
Coach Sean, what I said is it before or after the guy breaks in the house? We all love.
You did say that.
General, but there are some generals that we do like.
Shannon says, but the roles should be based on what y'all decide. And that is my point, Shannon. That is what I was looking for. The roles should be based on what you decide. And I was in a relationship where we accepted roles. We were cool with the roles. And then the friends started making jokes about the role, right? And making comments. Oh, you're domesticated, blah, blah, blah. Now you're embarrassed about the same roles that we agreed on.
Hey, but Coach
That,
Sean,
Really quickly,
that's
y'all,
what I
my
have an
phone
issue with.
about to die, so y'all gonna miss me for like 10 minutes until I get to the house.
Okay.
hey, but Coach Sean,
Yeah.
There's not something to come with that because look, I understand we don't like gender roles, but we don't like some gender roles. Cause, I'm like this here. Let's say, we're in a hostage situation and, people's.
Wait a second, Jermaine. Somebody needs to mute their line. That's too much noise in the background.
Good God.
I need someone to mute their phone. If you're not speaking, just mute your phone, please. All right, go ahead, Jermaine.
What I'm saying is, I do understand, we don't like traditional gender roles, but say we get in a situation, there's a hostage situation, and then they be like, let the women and children out first, or the women gonna be like, oh, no, 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 there's no gender roles here. I want to stay right here with you. Or if there's a
That
I
fire,
mean,
gender
I ain't
role
gonna
thing.
leave my man or my kids, so we in this
or,
together.
or if there's a fire, you know what I'm saying? Somebody gotta go in there. Usually a man do it, but here's the thing. If there's no gender roles, hey, go in there and get a little burnt. There's certain gender roles that we like, there's certain that we don't like. It's like double standard. You can't like one thing all the way. You got to be flexible. I don't believe in gender roles either, but guess what? I still believe in if I walk with you, I'm the closest one to the street.
You know what? I just saw a documentary where that is something that changed from past years. In the past, the guy walked closer to the buildings, and the guy walked close to the buildings until, oh, what's the guy's name that invented these plumbing and toilets, right? Because in larger cities, people would dump waste out the window. People would throw trash out the window as well.
Oh, I understand
Um,
that.
so guys, I'm just saying that was something that was alarming to me. I was like, oh man, I wonder what made it change or when did that role change?
So
Again,
I didn't get that memo because to me traffic I'm protecting my woman from the traffic.
right, right. I get it. I mean, and people say that, and sometimes I have to remind myself of where we're supposed to be when it comes to this. But that's cool. And thank you again, Shannon. You created some really good discourse about this. Jermaine, just giving a little recap for you and the others that are out there listening. Our question today started with the definition of a sassy man, and Shannon gave her definition, and Deborah Tamara was here earlier.
So I said
And
it's an oxymoron.
oh, explain.
Because if you sassy, you ain't no damn man.
Well, what's your definition of sassy?
Well, I would, and I hate to say it like this, I look at sassy as in soft, female-like, emotional. Those are a lot of things. A lot of things that come to with the word sassy, are not male traits. So it's like, I've heard sassy. You can be opinionated, but sassy, that's a whole nother level.
Hmm.
Oh, boys, that's disrespectful.
Exactly.
Disrespectful.
Like this whole quote unquote drizzle area. Now them niggas are sassy.
We voted to go against the term altogether because of
Right.
I agree.
Tank made a great request. Tank asked the ladies to provide a synonym, and the only thing they could come up with is the B word. So when you call a man sassy, just think about calling him the B word, you know?
That
Well,
right there with me,
that's a
that
proper
will cut off a
definition.
relationship with me. Because when you call
Oh
me a
yes, sir.
suit, that's a wrap right there. That means you one of them bossy type female. And I can't deal with a bossy type. You
I
know?
respect you as long as you respect me.
Word. That's what it is. You give me that respect, I give you that respect. And you automatically gonna get that respect from me because I'm dealing with you. But when you come out and I don't care what's going on, you know what I'm saying? And you call me the B word, you must well get your stuff, pack up, and hit your box on the left. Like the lady said, your stuff to the left. Go ahead up the door.
Hey,
Yeah?
Coach Sean, you remember back in the day when somebody want to challenge somebody to a duel, they take off their glove and slap you with it?
Right.
Yeah, that's what call me that is.
Yeah.
So ladies, you
Yeah.
hear how men feel about being called sassy. You hear, their opinion on this sassy talk
Yeah.
and being, I know it's just a talking point. It's just a talking point itself, you know?
I'm sorry, you call me sassy, I'm gonna be tempted to unsass the situation. You probably ain't gonna like it.
I know that's right. Shit. Yes, sir. And we'll be sassy together. Before I hit to that level, I'd rather not deal with you.
Hell, I go to county for that.
I ain't going to county enough for no sass. No, you keep your sassiness and you going. You go and deal with sassy. I ain't with sassy. Though. I don't mess with them people.
Hey, you let somebody get away with calling you sassy, boy, you can't get rid of that, boy.
Well, boy, that I said now, you ain't got no more dealings with me. You dead. Ain't no
Once
loss
a
a
woman
man
calls
can't
you
leave a woman,
sassy,
man.
Oh,
Huh?
that's it.
That's it,
so if a
bro.
woman calls you
That's
sassy, so that's a
disrespectful.
non-negotiable. That's a deal
That's,
breaker.
that's a deal breaker. That's disrespectful, man. It's your tongue for your body.
If I call her a B, is she gonna forgive me?
No,
Exactly.
no, because she gonna keep bringing that up. Oh, remember you called me that B, huh? I remember that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then
That
that'll
is
make them
true.
want to do negative things. You know what I'm saying? And for a man to call a woman a B, that ain't no, that, you ain't real with that. You ain't real with what you got. You know what I'm saying? If y'all both of y'all call each other B, you ain't near when y'all real with each other.
Look, I don't know who y'all comedians were. This guy named Bill Burr. Some of y'all know him, some don't. He did a skit called No Reason to Hit a Woman, How Women Argue. He told a lot of truth in it.
What
Because
did he say?
he said, here's how women argue. If they're right, they stay on the point. They make sure you stay on the point until you're on your knees begging for forgiveness. But here's the problem. If they're wrong, they go rogue. They start thinking about shit you're sensitive about.
Yeah.
They call you sassy. They call
Yeah.
you sassy.
And for one, if you catch him in a lie, they ain't gonna never tell you the truth.
And then he said the whole idea
You
is to
know?
make you so
They're gonna be
mad.
sassy all in, you know what I'm saying, till the end.
And then he said the whole idea is to make you so mad you call him a name, and then that name trumps everything and start the argument.
Yeah.
This is interesting, hearing this perspective from guys.
And another thing I hate about a woman is that, another thing I hate about a woman is that, man, you know what I'm saying? So let me tell you something, what's going on with me, you know what I'm saying? And, yeah, I'm getting that couple of years, maybe, oh yeah,
We can't hear you,
I
Troop.
can
We can't hear you.
another
Your
deal
phone's
breaker.
going out.
Because that's means something, you to talk to you about something, that's to be between me and you, not nobody else.
Every
You know
woman
what
Oh
knows a
yeah,
man's
I'm saying?
butt.
yeah. We talked about that. We talked about that in one of our previous episodes. And Trellis, I know we talked about men being hesitant or having anxiety when it comes to opening up and communicating, and why the ultimate disrespect in a relationship is discussing things with outsiders that this man has talked to you about in his most vulnerable state.
Right.
Once a woman does that, it's like that's one of the ultimate signs of disrespect, and you mean
Yeah.
nothing to that person.
Every
Right.
woman knows what gets on her man's skin. And they know they got that. They may
You
not
break that
use it,
word.
but in case of emergency, break glass. Here you go.
Yeah.
But that's not even getting under a person's skin, because that's
No.
like life changing. You know, when you get under a person's skin, that's like, okay, you made them mad at that point in time, right? But when you do something that's considered betrayal, you've changed the entire dynamics of that relationship, period.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's over with. Is done.
I'm gonna look at you different.
There's no trust there.
I'm gonna look at you
Right,
different.
There's no
right,
trust
right.
there. You know what I'm saying? I can't trust you. The little thing means a lot. You know?
And yeah,
The big things
it,
don't mean nothing. The little thing means a lot.
And here's the thing. Look, you might not
You
know
know?
this. Look, you might not know this. It might be a news flash. We have feelings.
Yes. Deep feeling. Especially the ones who hear.
so you're saying that, so women like to hear that. They actually ask for men to share their emotional side.
Yeah. But I will be here this side.
And that's part of you being
Um,
that's part of you being with me. I'm gonna share those things with you. But once you throw it back
Word.
at me, that's the betrayal.
That's dead. That's dead. You don't make sense for you to call my phone no more.
after
Look,
they've
You know what I'm
said
saying?
something that you, okay.
Yeah,
you know,
because if I tell you something and I ain't never told nobody else and I told you something, excuse me, I'm gonna just say this. Say for instance, I told little shorty, hey, you know what I'm saying? I just robbed this dude. You know what I'm saying? Me and her in the argument. Oh, I'm gonna let them motherfuckers, excuse me, I said, I'm gonna let them niggas know
Yeah.
you robbed them, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, you better get married first.
Married? I don't even trust marriage.
No, I say that 'cause I'm in the legal field. You can tell something like that, better get married.
Shit, man. Word. You know what I'm saying? You can't trust. I'm just saying that, you know what I'm saying? Hypothetical speaking, but you know what I'm saying? That's how
A soft,
Go ahead, Tank.
soft place and a safe place. We all know what that soft place is. So you need that safe place too.
So what happens once that safe
That's
place?
done. That's done. That's it. That's betrayal. That soft place can't make up for that safe place.
Because I should be able to come to you and I can't come to nobody else.
right, right.
So once that's broken, that's a wrap. I don't care how mad you get, your feelings, hormones, you bring it up, we done.
Yep.
Okay, okay. Go ahead, Robin. We're all ears. Guys, give her a second. Robin, what do you have to say about this and how the guys feel about that?
I do think it's not always obvious what you want to be held between you and that person, and I think you should make that known. If it's not something that's obvious, okay, I robbed this guy, like the other guy alluded to. It might be something more simple, but it's important to you. I think you should make it important what you're sharing that you want to be held in confidence.
Hmm, that makes sense. So, but, well, so I guess certain things, give me an example. So some things you feel like, hey, we were just talking, or I talked with one of my friends or my
Right. I
sibling
can't think
or,
of something
yeah.
that is specific, but there may be
Well,
things you
what is
think it's
something that
okay
you
to
think
share.
should not be repeated?
I don't know. I just think some things are blatantly obvious that you know that person wouldn't want you to share. And then there's other things you might think would be okay, but the person really didn't want you to share. I just can't think of an example right now.
Okay. So guys, do you all have an example of some things that you feel should automatically be considered confidential?
Oh, if you're married to somebody and y'all say something in marriage counseling and they throw it at you later, something like that,
No, give an example. We want a specific
that is
example.
the
Like
example.
something you could have talked in marriage counseling about liking to make the bed or not make the bed. I mean, is that something that you feel is confident? That's what I mean. Like I'm
Like if
thinking more in the line of go ahead, Tank.
say your husband got erectile dysfunction. Don't throw that out in front of everybody. Let everybody know.
Right,
You got
Okay.
it
right.
now.
That's just dead wrong.
Wherever y'all give that pillow talk to him at night or during the day when y'all together, whatever, that should be confidential between y'all two and nobody else. It don't matter what you talk about. That should be between you, that person, nobody else. Because if you wanted to get out, you'd have tell everybody else. So evidently, that right there should be between you and that person. Nobody else should have known what me and you communicate about.
Yeah. Yeah, cause I disagree. You should not have to give a disclaimer. Cause if we lay in the bed having a conversation, you shouldn't get up, grab your phone and take the confidence somewhere else.
Right. I wait till the next day when I ain't around.
No,
You don't do that. That's disrespecting to your person you with. You know?
Mm, oh boy.
And so for I deal with a person like that, I can't deal with nobody like that. I mean, communication means a lot. You don't know until you get into it. So it's a chance that we taking in life because life is a chance we taking. We don't know when we're going to leave here. So you got to make everything try to be positive about things. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, Deborah.
Any relationship that I'm in, whether it's with my sister, with my mom, with my significant other, if I trust you with something and you take that outside of our conversation after I asked you, not to, then yeah, I don't trust you and I'm probably never going to tell you anything in confidence again. That's it.
And I know
It's
as
just that
men,
simple for me.
as men, the problem we have is look, shit, nothing can fly to somebody like pulling teeth. So if we trust you to do that and you break it,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, like that's what happened with like a relationship that I was in with the stability, like how I told you guys before, like I've always been like on my own, took care of myself and I trusted that the person that I was entering into the relationship with could, hold up the stability end of it because he asked for that responsibility. But then he fumbled that responsibility And from that moment forward, there was no trust left.
And Terry made a good point. He said you shouldn't have to ask not to tell your secrets. Like once a person confides in you, that it should automatically be understood and assumed that
Yep.
this
I
is
agree. It should
confidential
be
information.
implied.
That's what I say. No disappointment needed.
It's implied, man.
Yeah, Deborah.
Right. But I think as black folks, there's that disclaimer that we also give to people like, I'm going to tell you this, but if I tell you and you tell somebody, I'm going to have to kill you now. Like some things I might tell you, and if I don't give you that disclaimer first, then I probably don't care if you tell anyone else because I am a very transparent person. So anything that I tell to one person or however, I can say it to whoever. It doesn't matter to me. But if I tell you this, you can't say nothing to nobody, and I know you're the only person I told, and then I hear it from somebody, just know that part of our relationship is all the way done.
Oh no, we on site. We
Yeah,
on site.
it's
We
done.
on site.
Well, I think there's some things, like we said earlier, should be understood. Like, and I'm just giving an example. Like, if a woman talks about some trauma that she experienced, if she talked about being abused as a child, if she talked about coach touching her inappropriately or having an abortion at 14 or something like that, you shouldn't have to say, hey, this stays between us.
That's common sense.
That is common sense. So
We
if
think
we
it's
get
common
around a
sense.
family function and then your mama come to me and your mama like, well, my son told me that you,
Guess
I'm
what?
gonna look at your mama like she crazy, and then I'm gonna look at you like you crazy too.
Call 911.
But we say
Hello?
it's obvious. We say those things are obvious, right? But what happens? And do you allow grace to someone? Do you allow grace to someone that violates that? Do you allow grace to them and say, okay, hey, they made a mistake, blah blah blah, and then
No,
you tell them, hey, don't repeat my business, or once it happens,
no,
once it's over.
that's it. Once it happens, once we done. Because what you tell me, like, if we're just sitting around, like, if it's me and you and we having girl talk and you telling me some stuff of like that's going on in your relationship, that's just like for me, that's just some stuff I'm just not going to repeat. Because if you're telling me, I don't know who else you told. I don't know who else
Right,
you want to know that. So I'm just not
right,
going to repeat that. But again, that's just
right.
me in the way that I am to the core.
Amen.
We have
Now,
a
whoever
caller
else
that
you
asked,
told,
yeah,
that's
go
on
ahead.
you.
Will you trade phones for a date with your significant other? I want to hear feedback from everybody on
Absolutely.
this one.
Yep.
Deborah,
Absolutely.
I sure would.
Absolutely. I sure
Tank,
would.
I got 3 right here.
Robin, Damon, will you trade phones for a date with your significant other?
In a relationship, yeah.
They can keep my phone whole month
But I
and
will
pay the
give a
bill for the day.
disclaimer. I will give a disclaimer because as a woman, I can't control what somebody might do. And again, we do get
Oh,
Sure do.
okay.
random gender pics, if you know what I
Okay.
mean, from men. So I will let him know, like, hey,
Dad, you better not
here's
show
my
my picture.
phone.
Don't show my picture.
I can't. Yeah, I can't say what might come through on that phone from whoever, like, especially on social media, whatever. But like, as far as you being able to go through my text messages and see what's going on in my phone and see who I'm talking to and see what's that, yeah, you can have that.
Okay,
Okay.
so you don't have a problem with sharing phones. And in a different circumstance or situation, I could just that I, ran a business and my phone, I would miss a lot of business. And I have a lot of friends that confide in me. And I talked about that where not just my personal information, you're being privy to the information of others that's being provided to me. So if my friends are sending things to me, they're sending it to me, not to be shared with someone else. Trellis, I'm not sharing phones. So why not, Trellis?
Eric
Why are you
said
not
no
sharing
for
phones?
why.
Got me right there, Trellis.
She said, I'm not sharing or trading, nothing, huh?
Uh,
Oh, so
uh,
she said not sharing or trading. So she's not even giving up her
uh,
phone. They can't even say, can I hold your phone for a minute? Nope. So if he
uh.
loses his
That's
phone
a
or
fight.
thinks he drops it, Say, hey, let me hold your phone right quick so I can call mine. Or if I need to use your phone for a
He
minute,
said nope.
Trellis.
Trellis said nope.
Wow. Trellis said nope and nope.
Trellis
She's
said
not.
she got some things in that phone that you ain't finna be privy to.
I respect your honesty. I like that.
Hey, cool. I don't even send nothing on my. I don't even show you nothing on my phone. I just send it to you. Hey, man, check this out. I'm gonna send it to your phone. I ain't even showing you my phone to look at it.
Mm. She said exactly. Yes. That's something right there with trading phones, man. And I'm sorry, we've reached our 2 hour mark. We're down to oh, she said I'll show you though. Okay. We are down, you all, to our closing minutes. The 2 hours have ended. I want to thank you all for tuning in. All right. Will communication be the same? So we're down to the final 2 minutes. So I want to thank you guys. Ladies, I also want to thank you all for being an outlet for Troop and Jermaine today. You all had a good moment that you all
You
had an
already know.
opportunity to vent with us.
And
And
I'm
yeah.
You
They
didn't catch
actually
it yet,
had a
man.
good moment. They got a good moment where they got to, well, you hear it in the playback. They got to get a lot of things off their chest, and they talked about how that sharing secrets is an absolute deal breaker. They're deleting numbers. Don't talk to me. Don't say anything.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Deborah, it took off.
Yeah.
Dang, my phone just had to die. It just had to die.
Yeah. They took off. So if anybody wants some closing words, comments, questions, please share it right now. We're down to 30 seconds.
Great show as
Again, I want to
always.
thank you all. Yeah. I want to thank you all. Really.
Y'all be blessed and nice talking to y'all. And I'll see you on the next run. I will
We're
be
here
there.
every Friday, man. We're here every Friday on Fridays, man. So just share, tell a friend. And I'm going to edit the show and publish it shortly. Thank you all. Thank you. And we look forward to having you all here again next Friday. Thank you, Trellis and Damon as usual. And again, we'll see you guys on Friday. Please tune in and as usual, share, tell a friend. All right. Y'all have a nice
All right.
weekend. Goodbye.
All right. You be blessed, man. Y'all be blessed. Have a safe trip, safe weekend.
All right.
Great weekend.